Hey, good people. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our next episode of In the Room with Loving Life podcast. I'm your host, LaKesha Lorene. I'm the founder and CEO of Loving Life Productions LLC. And today we are so blessed to have an amazing guest. She is an award-winning actress. She's a director, and she's also a hair professional, Miss Nikiya Mathis.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me, for real.
Yes, no, thank you, Queen. Thank you so much for doing this. You guys, you've seen her work. Many of you have probably seen her work on stage and in front of the camera, but you've also seen her work that she's done for a lot of your favorite artists. So there's so much to tackle with you because you also are another great multi-hyphenate, one of the second that we've had on the show, and actually our first that's also a hair professional. So there's so many things to talk about. But first, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started, because you studied in New York, correct?
Yeah, totally. So, I started acting in high school, and then just felt like it just felt like something I knew I wanted to pursue. I felt comfortable on stage. So I went to Temple undergrad and got a BA in theater and communications, and then ultimately went to NYU grad and got an MFA in acting. And it was interesting, while I was there, I remember having to do my own hair and sometimes doing my castmates' hair. And I was like, is there nobody who does this? I enjoy doing this, so maybe I would kind of like to do this. So I remember going to the costume shop supervisor and saying, hey, if I wanted to do hair for actors, what would that mean? And we just had a conversation, and it was just open, and it was something that I was like, oh, maybe down the line, let's see what happens. So I graduated from there, and my first professional production, which was a regional theater production, one of the actors needed cornrows. There was nobody in the theater to do this child's cornrows. So it was in Jersey, and she was going to have to travel back to Brooklyn, New York, where she was from, on her one day off, child, to get her cornrows done. You don't have time anyway. So your one day off, you actually have to be doing work. So I was, ridiculous. So I was like, I can do your braids, girl. Don't even worry about it. But the sad thing is that there was nobody that. The theater didn't have relationships with any Black stylists in the area. Have you not had Black people come, or are we it feels like we are often an afterthought. We are not usually cared for and thought about and prepared for. So I think even then, that started my road to I was in another show, ended up doing a castmate's hair, and it's these are not rinky dink theaters. These are yes,
houses, right?
Yeah, established theaters with that Black people have come through, well-known Black people. And it was wait a minute, there's a problem here. And then, oftentimes actors, friends would know I did hair and then reach out to me and say, hey, I need my hair done for a show, or I need a wig for this show. Can you do it? And that's kind of how it started. So slowly actors, when they got into shows, would start to tell the costume designer, hey, well, I know you said there's not a hair budget, but could you call Nikiya? She could at least come in and do something. So then it just continued from there. And then I started ultimately designing full shows. And now I'm actually doing equity and diversity training for costume designers and wig designers around the country.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, to start just from, being available and having the servant mind to say, hey, sure, I'll do your hair. Sure, I'll hook you up. I'll do whatever. Yeah. And now, flash forward, your resume, you've done hair for Anika Nani Rose. You've done hair for Susan Watson. Yes. You've done hair for all of these, fabulous artists that we know and love and that we've seen on screen or on stage. What was that journey like? So after you started getting, more work and more people reaching out to you, tell us a little bit of what it was like is there a union, or I know there's a union that you have to join.
Well,
Uh,
it
what's
depends.
that
There
like?
is a union. There is a hair makeup union.
Okay.
And it varies. You don't necessarily have to join it to be a wig designer.
Okay.
You have to join it if you want to do hair on set.
Okay.
On in terms of TV and film. So my journey, because I started off as an actor, I people would invite me in to do the one black actor's hair in the show. So I will ultimately be like a stylist or a consultant on the show. And then ultimately, I began being called in as the actual designer. And I didn't actually have to be in the union to do that. In order to join the union, you do need to go to cosmetology school and have a cosmetology license. And that's something that I have wanted to do and probably will still do. But the challenge has been navigating the schedule of acting. And then it would be like, okay, am I going to take a break for a year from
Right.
everything? Now with COVID, that might be possible. So no, I have not gone to cosmetology school, though that I do have that desire. I've been able to actually have access to spaces. I feel like because I already had access, because
Right.
I was already an actor and knew, what needed to be done and knew what actors needed and knew the support they needed. Whereas, people coming from the outside, even if it's a stylist that has a styling certificate or a license, there's a level of access into the theater and into like these spaces of TV film that people just don't have. People are usually calling their friend or their daughter, to come into these spaces. And that's
Right.
why, because the spaces are run by usually white people,
Yeah.
they are, calling other white people into the spaces. And then like we black people don't have the access to get in. So it's up to us to be trying to pull people in when we do get access.
Man,
So
and
yeah.
it blows my mind, Nikiya, to think about as an artist myself, to think about all the times we always have to call outside
Yes.
professionals. We always have to come with our protective style, which is like a weave style ready.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we kind of have to do more, and you're on the front lines of this, being able to help now teach people about diversity training in hair. you know how do you feel, or how does it feel living in your purpose in that way, letting them know, hey, basically black hair matters. When you have
Absolutely.
when you have these black professionals on your set, this is how you take care of our hair. And these are people that have went to school. So tell us about kind of how that journey is, and how you're using your platform and using your knowledge to help your other colleagues.
Yeah, it's been interesting to be in this space because excuse me, when I first started, I really just wanted to give support to my friends.
Yeah.
And because it was like, well, okay, I can do this job where nobody else can. Okay, well, let me just like lend a hand and do it. And it was something that like I used to do hair in high school. So it was like, oh, I think I always thought I would potentially be a hairstylist if I wasn't an actor. So there was something about like marrying the two. I would get excited when there was an opportunity to do hair. And because actors would call on me and trust me because I understood their needs in a way that it felt like the theaters or the costume designers didn't understand. Like they didn't understand that you can't just assume that a black actor is going to do their hair or be able to replicate what they did in the audition. You're not understanding the hours it's going to take them at home every night after each show, to have to do that. So you're asking them to do two jobs. And that was something I understood because I had gone through it. So I think because I understood, more actors trusted me. And that kind of ultimately, because actors trusted me and would recommend me, it helped to make me an expert in this particular thing for people to like call on me. So definitely because of COVID and like everything being online, I started doing these workshops because I recognized that, well, actually, no, actually before that, NYU Tisch School of the Arts, their graduate design program, they asked me to do a master class on like hair and wigs. So I did those classes for a few years. I still do them. I did it again this year. So when I started that, I realized even how much more of a need there was for costume designers to understand hair. Because usually when costume design, first of all, number one, usually most costume designers are not of color. So then in oftentimes they're going to have to go out into the world and service actors of color. Yeah. Right. So they don't know, like they have a big learning curve in terms of our hair. They have no idea, just like the rest of the theatrical world. So they needed to, they need some understanding and education. So then I recognized that, oh, there are actually even professional, not just students, but professional designers that don't understand. So let me, create a master class. So I started a master class to help. It's called Hair Story: How to Start the Design Process for Actors of Color. So I've had hundreds of designers and students from like around the country take the class, and designers who have been in the business for a long time saying, hey, I still recognize that when people come into the wig room, or when people, when I have the conversation with actors of color, there's a tentativeness, and I don't know why. Well, I do. I know why, because we know that, yes, we've been there time and time again. Like we know that oftentimes you're not preparing for our hair, and we don't know if you're going to pretend to know, if you're going to really treat us right, if you are going to, listen to the things we say that we actually need. So it's been awesome. And, just like, even after having done that, like there are so many other opportunities being presented to like really be a voice in this space, because I feel like there are Black people who are doing the work, but I'm wondering who is like taking the mantle and saying, wait, but this needs to be done. There are actresses speaking out, but there need to be people at the head. There need to be producers saying, oh, we see you, we hear you, let's make a change. So I'm happy to like help with that.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're definitely at the forefront of the movement, because outside, this is the first, at least that I've heard, and I haven't really seen anything in Deadline or any of the Hollywood Reporter or what have you, about there being any opportunities for people to get educated on how to do it, because that is a huge thing. A lot of stylists, wonderful stylists, in everyday Black America, or everyday America, have aspirations to do what you're doing, but one, don't have the resources, or they're not coming from inside of the artist world, as you were blessed to do. And then two, there's no education out there for those who have made it to that level. There's just a few that I can even think of more high profile, or those stylists that have access to do work for actors that are working at some of the highest levels. I don't know about any education opportunities, because they're busy, being stretched, doing all of these demands for these individuals.
That's exactly.
And in and outside of, I think of Kim Kimble, I love her work. I know you're a fan of her work. And she's stretched doing Beyonce's hair, Mary J. Blige, and all these other, Zendaya and all these other people. Yes. And I think what you're doing is awesome, and I really see it, especially right now, where eyes are opened, ears are, perked up and attentive to try to learn, because there's been this Black renaissance on television and stage, which has been beautiful. I think it's going to continue to grow, like what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm really hoping so. It's interesting, like being an actor and a wig designer, having these two careers, like they are intertwined, but in the same way, they are also their own things, at times. So there's been a level of like, it's been a faith walk too, because I didn't intend, I don't know that I intended to have, I wanted to have some creative expression in terms of hair that related to acting, but I really didn't necessarily see that it would be this. So it's been a real blessing. And I count it a privilege, like, to be in this space, particularly when there are so many, people who've done it so long, still looking to me for my expertise on this thing because I've been in both worlds. So I'm excited, like, about the potential of, what it has to bring, and hoping that, like, the acting and wig design, like, that things collide more. Also because, like, when I first started, people said, if you're an actor, you need to just be an actor. If you're doing anything else, then you're not really serious. Like that, that was the feeling. Yeah. And I feel like we all have so many gifts and talents. Why would we play small and not utilize all of the talents God has given us? And that's really how I want to show up in the world, and also show people, like, no, you don't have to pretend to only be an actor, only desire acting. Like, you can have a whole full life. Maybe you're a tennis player. You want to be an actor. Like, listen, I don't know, but, like, be all that God made you to be, because there's a feeling that, like, oh, theater is the world, theater is God, or TV film is God. And it's not. Like, actually, like, my purpose in this world is actually more than that. It's not just if I have an acting job, or if I have a design job. It's like, well, when I'm in the space, what am I doing? How am I helping somebody? Like, what is the gift I'm trying to give to somebody? Because when theater is shut down, which it is,
2021, we pray.
Honey, I just saw, yes, girl, it's just shenanigans. I just saw that it's supposed to be shut down until May of 2021. So now it's a question of if that is going to really be the date, or if it's going to be pushed even further back. But, like, really finding purpose is something that's important to me.
Oh yeah. And just even thinking honestly, on my way, I was in the car today, and I was talking to a young girl the other day, and she referenced my hair. She was like, "Oh, I love your puff, and your hair's so good." And I was like, "But your hair is great too." And I think something that, just being a Black woman, knowing how powerful it is to encourage people. You're exhorting, you're encouraging, and helping these women to feel confident and not worry about, you shouldn't have to worry about your hair. You shouldn't have to worry about those type of things, especially at the levels that we're talking. Any equity level, especially when you're working on network shows and things like that, streaming networks, streaming giants. The last thing you should have to worry about is your costuming and your hair. So, what you're doing is you're encouraging people to say, hey, yes, you are valued, you are beautiful, and the way our hair looks in all of the different facets and all of its different forms is beautiful.
Definitely. Absolutely. Like, it's the worst for an actor. I mean, I've had so many stories, actors going on set, and or you come with your twist out, and somebody has a water bottle thinking they're about to define your curls, but they're about to ruin your life. With that water bottle, child. Like, why do you have this water bottle on my twist out that I did last night? Or, like, somebody, saying that they're going to define your curls, and they burn your hair out because they have the heat up too high, because they're thinking, oh, your hair is so strong, let me turn it all the way. And, just, like, all wrong. And, the people on these sets are allowed access, and are allowed access, but are not made to prepare for us. So they're using their skills on European hair textures.
Yeah.
And that don't work. Like, your pin curls don't work for our wig prep. We need cornrows. Yeah. You don't know how to cornrow my hair. Like, let's just be real about it, right. And stop pretending. So yeah. And just, like, for us to have to, like, be going on camera looking crazy while they're trying to save their jobs and not admitting that they don't know what they're doing. It's just not fair. And and I know that there are actually a lot of amazing stylists who are on sets, but for all of those amazing stylists, there are so many more who have not gone through any training. And and a change needs to come in terms of producers in the hiring process. So hopefully that'll begin.
Well, hey, we're pushing for it for you, and I want people. So those of you who happen to work, at professional levels in hair design, you can actually go to Nikiya's website, www.actresseshair.com, and it's actresses. Um, hair.com, and you can get some, reach out to her for consulting, reach out to her to work with you and your technical crew.
Sure.
Because you'll need it. Times are changing. Every one of us is made differently, and you really need to adequately be prepared to work with the professionals on your set. So
Yes,
we're excited. I want to see more. So let's jump back. So yes, you do act, and it's so funny looking at your resume. The Skeleton Crew, Dominique Morrisseau. We did that at Tennessee State University.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell us about that. You've done Skeleton Crew. You've done the revival of Lynn Nottage, Fabulation. You've done a lot of things. You've done Alvin McCraney's the brother sister plays. So tell us about your work in Broadway, and how did that come about? Did it happen after school or before? So your journey to full-time artistry.
Yeah, it definitely happened after school. I mean, after I graduated, I got access to, I went to school in New York, so there were, I was around directors that were working in New York, and we would go see theater after school, like, so we were immersed in it, and I think it was maybe like 2 years after I graduated that I booked the brother sister plays at the Public Theater in New York, which was awesome. And Terrell has done amazing things. He's just like now, a movie maker, filmmaker. But no, it was after. It was just, auditioning and meeting people and just trying to figure out what roles really fit me. But I've been blessed to originate, a bunch of roles, Skeleton Crew, Shanita being one. Like, that's one of my favorite roles, just because I love Dominique's work, because she is a playwright who is really, she walks the talk. Like, she is for Black people, for the upward mobility of Black people. And in terms of Skeleton Crew, I feel like it's beautiful because there are so many, the family is beautiful, but Shanita particularly, she's a young Black pregnant woman who people would look at on the street, single mom, and assume a thing about her, that is not good, but she actually is brilliant and amazing and has dreams for her and her child and protective of it, like the opposite of all of the stereotypes. So I love what Dominique paints in that characterization. I mean, I love all of the characters, but particularly Shanita, of course, because I played it. But I think she's beautiful. She's a dreamer. Yeah.
I think I love Dominique's work as well. And we're prepping to actually do Detroit 67 here. And I think what's so special about her work, I'll have to give you information, but I think what's so special about her work, as you said, she talks the talk, but just the dialogue, it's just so real. Like, it feels like your family. Like, I don't know another way to describe it. There's some plays that you read and some scripts that you read that you can kind of take yourself out of, but hers just feel like home. Totally. Writer Laura A. Webb reminds me of her as well. But yeah, love her work. So what was it like? Describe to us, for those who are interested, those artists who are interested in, pursuing theater and acting on stage as a career, what was that first big audition like, and what motivated you to keep going after that?
I would say the first, actually, am I breaking up at all?
No.
Okay, good. The first big audition, that was probably, Well, I think probably it was probably for the biggest one was like out of school was probably TV film.
Okay.
Um, which was interesting because like coming out of NYU at the time I came out, we didn't have a whole lot of TV film training. So it was, for me, it was really daunting. I was like, oh my gosh, I know like in terms of theater, I don't want to be too big for the camera. So like I ended up like just instead of doing something, I did nothing. So like, I just was not good, probably. So like it was a process of actually coming out of school and learning what my audition process was. Also feeling like, oh my gosh, these people are like God. These people have so much power to give me a job that I really want, and trying to, for me, there has been a process out of school of like redefining what the audition process is and what jobs are, and recognizing that these people are not God, that these people are just like me, human beings who, imperfect people, and that when I go in, it's an opportunity to play and show them who I am in this. And they may or may not choose it for the role, but it's okay. I remember maybe the thing that rings out for me is they were going to do For Colored Girls on Broadway in New York shortly after I graduated.
Yeah.
I wanted to get an audition for this. I asked this, casting director I know to like, if she could recommend me to this other casting director, like just all of this stuff. So I got an audition for, and the first audition was awesome. Then I got a call back, and the second audition just felt like, I just felt like I sucked. And I probably did. I don't think I was able to bring my best to it because I was so nervous. I felt like the job was greater than me, that there was a level of, I really want this, but I don't know if I'm good enough. And I remember after that callback feeling so sad and so depressed. And I talked to a mentor, a director, and she was like, you have a day to feel bad. And after that, no more. And when I got that lesson, like I have taken that on with me, because the point is you're going to have so many auditions.
Yeah.
You cannot cry and die like at at every audition that doesn't go your way, because you will not be able to make it in this business.
Yeah.
You actually need to find a way to find some type of joy in it, or some type of understanding that, oh, like it's not that I'm bad. It's not that I'm not good enough. It's just that, oh, they might want a different flavor for this role. Or it just might be that my energy, my natural energy is not the energy for every role. Like there are people who are going to come and bring something else because they naturally bring it. But what I bring, when I'm bringing it fully, nobody else can bring. And that's the same thing for everybody. And I think that's what I've learned. And that's the reminder, the thing I have to remind myself, whenever doubt comes up.
Oh yeah, I think something that you said, really resonated with me. It's this pedestal that with the type of industry that we're in, everybody, it's a God complex. Everybody puts the job as the God, right? Not creating, not having their own source of, their own source or their own deity or their own faith that they can stay grounded and rooted in. It's this job. And when that doesn't happen, or if that doesn't happen, because like you said, it happens. There's times where a lot of times where you're not going to be the casting director's choice. So like you said, I love that you said your mentor said one day. And after that one day, you have to keep it going. So just
yeah,
especially in New York, I imagine, I haven't been there yet, but the hustle and bustle, the grind, everybody there, obviously, most people that move to New York, they want to do Broadway. That's just flat out. They want to do entertainment, and specifically entertainment on stage. So it's like not getting intimidated, not getting overwhelmed with the competition of it, or, what's for you is for you. There's no way that you can pass or miss, the blessings that the Lord has for you. There's no way. And
that's it right there.
There's no way. So I love that you said that, because you've gotten to work on a lot of great shows. So talk about it. So moving on from stage. So now we're jumping into, the series. So we're talking Blue Bloods. We're talking
The Last OG. Yeah, The Blacklist, Chicago Med, New Amsterdam. I'm
Right.
actually in LA right now, working on a show called Snowfall, on FX. Just Elementary, Person of Interest. All of those like episodic shows, especially the ones that shoot in New York. I'm trying to think of, but yeah, those are the types of shows that I've worked on, which has been awesome. I've also done like some film. There's a film on Netflix that I did like actually a while ago called Vampires versus the Bronx. It's a fun film, but I'm doing like a smaller role, but it's a cool film.
It's a cool. So what has it been like? Do you have an agent, or do you have I know you talk about building the relationships, and we've mentioned on one of our other episodes, kind of helping people shift the perspective, because we have a range of artists from novice to those who are a bit more experienced, looking to go to the next level. So we always hear these terms in entertainment about, kind of paying your dues and things of that nature. And I say, well, think of it as networking, right? Especially the opportunity that you have in school. If you're actually in school for acting or for theater or for film, you have this community of people, which when you're on the outside world, your community actually is your casting director, because they do want you to get the job. They want to look good. So, actors make them look good, but you have your teachers and your professors that are your network. Those are the people that want to see you succeed. So tell us a little bit about your journey into then moving into the network series and the episodics and films, and what did that look like as far as, how you got the opportunities to get to those rooms?
Well, I feel like, so, I think the thing that was a blessing about going to school in New York is that casting directors and agents were able to come to see our shows. So when we had a showcase, then, ultimately some of those casting directors had already like known and gotten to see me. So then it was like, oh, they already had an idea of the types of roles that they could call me in for. And I think if there are any students out there, it's going to be helpful for them to know that not just an agent is helpful, but actually even more the relationship with the casting director. Because whether you have an agent or not, if the casting director doesn't like you or is not feeling you, it's a wrap. Like the casting director is the person. So, hopefully your agent has a good relationship with casting director, but like, yeah, casting, those are the people to know. So, yeah, it really was just like getting into rooms. Like the first year I booked no TV because it was just about me meeting people and people trying to figure out, okay, so who is this girl? Let me keep bringing her in and see if she does good work. Can I trust her in the audition room? Yeah. And I think that's something that people don't really understand and recognize. But the casting director is trying to see if they can trust you. Are you going to keep showing up and keep doing good work so that I can trust that when you go on set, you are going to, do the job that we hired you to do. So it really has just been a process. I mean, in theater, like there's a level of comfort that I have because I started out on stage. So with that, I think as my comfort level grew on stage, my comfort level grew in TV film, just because there was more of an understanding of acting. And I also learned that particularly in TV film, but also in acting, that I need to stop trying to guess what they want this character to be or look like and all that stuff, and say, and just show up as myself. This is my interpretation of the character, and this is Nikiya as the character. Do you want her? And if not, that's cool. You might want, girl number one or girl number two. But like, so that to me has been like the biggest thing. Like, oh, they do want me. They want my version, or they at least want to see it. And then they can determine if they want to, book that version or not. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's cool because listening kind of to the Margie Haber type of theory of it. They want to see you create. They want to see how you create. And, as an artist, the cool thing about it is that you never really have to turn off that creative mind. In so many other work worlds, you have to turn that off, and you have to, think a little bit more. I think it's right brain. But when you're an artist, you always have the opportunity to be creative. So like Nikiya said, think of it as, this is your version. This is your opportunity to create what you believe and how you feel this character, who this character is. And a lot of times people love to see that. Casting directors love to see that, and audiences love to see that. So just really be true to however you're feeling in that moment to create this life that, we can all enjoy and watch on screen or on stage. So even going further, you're on the other side, right, of the stage or the camera as a director. Because you direct.
Totally.
So tell us about that, what you direct and the type of projects, and, how can people get in touch with you for any
sure. It's so interesting. Directing hasn't been the main thing, but it's definitely been a thing as an artist. I think as an actor, there are so many facets of us that can come about, like when you start as a theater artist. So I also teach, direct. A lot of it has been it's varied. A lot of it has been university students and high school students, actually. And directing readings and things like that. I'm directing something at Temple University right now, actually a version of Skeleton Crew, which is cool to have had that, just to have that, the experience with it, and to share from some really personal knowledge. But in a lot of the directing has been about, there are some directors who are really hands off. Then there are some directors who teach. Then there are some directors who block. Like, I am more of a teaching and guiding director, particularly because these are often I'm working with high school or university students, and I know that there is some guidance about the process of developing a character that's still needed. And I really enjoy that. I really enjoy empowering students, and trying to get them to figure out okay, so what is my way into the journey? Is it from the outside in? Is it from the inside out? What are some tools you can use in order to really drop into the physicality, or what's the voice like? So all of those things are exciting to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see some of your work on stage. And like I said, there's always, I think the demand right now, it's just an exciting time to, one, be a woman and be a Black woman, because the opportunities are so vast. And there's people all over the world looking for you, and that's you, Nikiya, and that's also you who's watching. Don't downplay whatever it is that you naturally are inclined to, or if you have more than one thing that you do really well, don't think that can't be used.
Yes, absolutely.
We have Nikiya on the show. She's a living witness that, something that she grew up loving to do, she's able to now share that love and that comfort, with other people's in an industry, with a job that she really loves to do as well. So there's really no limits to anything. I want to piggyback to actresses' hair.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about where people can find out about the classes that you'll have, or some of the the wigs that you'll have available. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, my Instagram is at our_black_tresses. So you can reach out to me on my website or even Instagram. Like people, in terms of wigs, oftentimes actresses are reaching out to me because they need audition looks. You
Yeah,
know, you get auditions at the last minute and don't want to have to figure out the manipulation of your hair or how much time it might take you to get your hair right. You want to spend the time working on the material and know that, oh, the hair that I want is right there. Let me prop it on and then like I'm good to go. Yeah, we don't have that time to be worrying about are my curls popping, you know, like especially if it's a last minute thing. And also like, you know, you never know when an audition comes. So you having to constantly manipulate your hair. If you have decided that it's going to be curly, but you think that this um character where it rocks straight hair, am I going to sit there and like, you know, really blow out, straighten, flat iron my curly hair? Like, I'm not sure. I might be concerned about heat damage. There are just so many things. So yeah, so actors reach out to me about that. You know, even stylists or yeah, stylists on set like may request a wig from me, or people will actually book something and say, hey, I want to walk onto set with a wig because I don't want them to manipulate my hair, which is something that I really, you know, suggest. That's what, you know, so many people are doing so that there's not much room for error with a wig,
got
particularly if you come in knowing what your wig should look like, whether they straighten it out right where, you know, make it curly or not. It's likely going to be a better process than them trying to figure out your hair, particularly if they don't know how to do it. So yeah, like those are the ways, you know, people can reach out for me. I'm going to start to supply wigs, to have a, you know, an online database of wigs. But for now, if you have any wig needs or thoughts, you can, people just reach out to me. I just ask you, just send me a picture and then we can have a consultation and then just kind of start from there.
that is awesome. And where can we see you? You mentioned that you're filming Snowfall right now. What else
Hmm.
is coming up for you that we can kind of see or check out?
Sure. Well, Snowfall will be the thing, you know, because we've been in this pandemic.
Yeah,
Snowfall has been the first thing that well, I mean, you know, Vampires versus the Bronx is on Netflix right now. But again, that's a smaller role. Or I was earlier in the year, before the pandemic, on Chicago Med and New Amsterdam. And yes, when this season 4 of Snowfall comes out, you can catch me on that. But yeah, those are the things right now.
but Nikiya, I am just so excited. First of all, thank you so much for being on the show, in
Yes.
the room with Loving Life. You know, we're all about just purpose living, living in purpose, on purpose, and you are doing that.
Thank you.
So again, you know, so much love. You have fans here, you have supporters here.
Oh, thank you.
And you know, the biggest thing in this industry, at base, what we do is we're learning about humans. We're learning about human behavior, and we're giving people a safe space.
Yeah,
So why not? Don't only have that safe space on stage or in front of the screen. Let's make sure that safe space happens behind the scenes with
that's
the
it right there.
professionals that you're working for.
Yes, it's so
Yeah,
important.
it's so, so, so important.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So again, you guys, definitely, you can follow actually Nikiya's IG page. Her personal IG page is at Nikiya Mathis. It's NIKIYAMATHIS. And then again, the company Instagram is at underscore our underscore, I'm sorry, at our_black_tresses. And
Mhm.
then the website is www.actresseshair.com. So,
Mhm.
Nikiya, thank you so much for being on
You're
today.
welcome. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much. You're awesome.
Yes. And you guys, thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you next time at In the Room with Love and Life. Bye, y'all.